Good morning. Good morning. Let's just start there. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool. Slander becomes the tool of the loser. It's attributed to Socrates, but I don't know if it was really Socrates. There's some controversy around that, but not as much controversy as you're going to hear about today. And sometimes, my friends, sometimes revenge is sweet. How many of you watched Turtle Boy's show last night? This is explosive. Justin Green, thank you for the Cash App so early in the morning. Thank you for the Cash App. Jonathan, if you're watching, I'm live right now, so I can't do anything as such like that. Yep, you watched it? First of all, prayers to everyone who is in the path of this horrific Hurricane Milton that is coming right barreling towards the coast of Florida into Tampa. Sean McDonough, Jules, Peter Tragos, Brandy, and anyone who is down there, has friends and family down there. I am really praying for you, and my thoughts are with you, and please stay safe. Prayers for Florida. Yeah, this is, it's crazy what's going on down there. And the only person today who is happy about Hurricane Milton is Kate Peter, because it just may take some of the focus off of her today. For those of you who have no idea who Kate Peter is, let me remind you who Kate Peter is. You may remember her from her appearances in the late stages of the Karen Reed trial, showing up outside the courthouse. Enjoy.
The innocent families that have been smeared by this is unacceptable. You wouldn't want it to happen to your family, would you, ma'am? Would you want this to happen to your family? I would hope not. I would hope not. The innocent families that have been smeared by this is unacceptable. You wouldn't want it to happen to your family, would you, ma'am? Would you want this to happen to your family? I would hope not. I would hope not.
She said, answer me at the end. Did you hear that? Answer me. Well, she thought she was untouchable. She thought she was untouchable because she had the personal cell phone numbers of Special District Attorney Ken Mello and Deputy Lieutenant, whatever the hell they call him, Tully at the Massachusetts State Police, in her revenge plot to use people as their confidential informant to frame Aidan Carney. Yep, frame Aidan Carney. And if you didn't think Karen Reed was framed before, you might want to take a second look. You might want to take a second look, because what BEDEROW has laid out in his recent letter to the special prosecutor Cosgrove, who's taken over for Mello, apparently, in Aidan Carney's case because he's been MIA. Mello, what BEDEROW has laid out in his latest letter demanding discovery, I mean, I would say it would shock you, but at this point, does it really? Does anything really shock you coming out of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office at this point? Does anything really shock you when it has to do peripherally and now inextricably intertwined with the Karen Reed case? It's mind-numbing at the highest levels. And I just can't believe that the Massachusetts State Police and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office would want to engage with a person like this. Because if you have been personally attacked, trolled, doxxed by this woman in the cesspool of Twitter or YouTube, she also goes by the name Masshole Mafia, I think. I think it's Masshole Mafia, is it? Or Mafia Masshole, something like that. Masshole Mafia. At Mafia Masshole on Twitter. She also has a YouTube channel where she does nothing but post hateful things about people. And I know that from personal experience. And now, doesn't it all make sense? She's not just a hateful, vitriolic person. Or maybe she is. but she definitely had an agenda. And her agenda was revenge against Aiden Carney. And so what she did was team up with two women who hated him almost as much as she does. Is anybody else mind blown by this? This woman has made people's lives a living hell. And she has the nerve to go on court TV and talk about justice for John O'Keefe. She has aligned herself with these with every single player in this case with her own personal agenda, and her personal agenda is revenge against Aiden Carney, whether you like him or not. Whether you like her or not, she was used, she was manipulated, she manipulated other people in her ruse, and we'll see what happens with her, because I'm looking at you, Norfolk County DA's office. You can't selectively choose to prosecute your laws. If you're going to use your witness intimidation statute to try and lock up a guy who owns a fence company in town, who's like lived in Canton for I don't even know how many years, he's 65 years old, for rubber ducks, little tiny rubber ducks with little stickers on the bottom of them, and counterfeit money stamped with a phrase that could really mean anything because it hurts the feelings of one of your town select board members and his son, then you cannot not prosecute this woman. Are you kidding me? It is gross. It's just gross. And now she's finally being exposed. And many of you knew who she was before. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing who she was until she started on me. And it all makes sense when I go back to the timeline. I started covering this case in January of 2024. And she started, coming for me. And I left Twitter. And I'm so glad I never went back. But this is who she is. And she's being exposed. Enjoy your 15 minutes, Kate Peter. Enjoy your 15 minutes. You have made so many people's lives a living hell. And you will get what you deserve. Maybe. Maybe. Unless they're going to, choose to selectively prosecute yet again in Norfolk County. Yet again. Let's get into it. Those are all my opinions, and just my opinions. You might have some opinions after you read the latest letter with me from Mark BEDEROW, who, as you know, is representing, he's part of Aiden Carney's defense team with Tim Bradel for all of the charges against Aiden Carney, a journalist. Yes, I do remember what she tweeted when your mom died, Aiden. I do remember. It was hateful. It was horrific. Hell hath no fury. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, like this woman. And when she gets together with two other women who were also scorned by Aiden, oh boy, look out. It's the trifecta. It's the trifecta of witches. And it makes sense because it's in Massachusetts. And I was watching the Monty Python witch clip the other day. I can't play it or I'll get stricken, but remember that witch clip from an old Monty Python movie? I don't even remember which one it was. Just Google it on YouTube, Monty Python witch clip. And she did. She tweeted something really hateful when your mother died. And, that just goes to show you what we're dealing with here. But then again, this is who the Massachusetts State Police and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office have chosen to align themselves with. She's their confidential informant, or maybe not even so confidential because she bragged about it. She bragged about it. Right. How do you know she's a witch? She looks like one. She looks like one. Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, just when you thought there could be just like one more thing that you couldn't believe, this is it. This is it. First, actually, why don't we look at first, I'm going to pull up for you the response from Cosgrove to BEDEROW's last letter, because that's a bit snarky. It's a bit snarky. It just amazes me that these people never think they're going to get caught. Hubris. They're above the law. They think they're never going to get caught. Well, BEDEROW is here now, my friends. BEDEROW is here. Never fear. If you did not watch the first stream that I did on this, I will link it in the video description. I didn't have time to do that this morning. Here's the response to Bradel and BEDEROW. It's dated September 26th of 2024. If you remember, Mark BEDEROW's letters, I think, were dated something like September 9th and September 19th, asking for discovery in the Commonwealth versus Aiden Carney case. And this is dated September 26th. Gentlemen, I am today providing you in hand with the following discovery. Poll camera footage. This is the third copy made available to the defense. Oh, that's a little snarky. You received the first copy and complained that it was unreadable. We responded that we provided what we had and the software we ran it on with our computers and suggested possible user error, like, oh, your fault, you can't open it. We indicated that we would provide a second copy with the software we use, and I notified you by email on July 9th, 2024, to contact Lieutenant Tully to make arrangements for pickup or delivery, which you never did. In our view, we fulfilled our obligation. However, in Mr. Bradel's August 28th motion, you renewed the complaint that the software was unreadable and asked that we provide you a copy in MP4 format. Herewith is a Seagate hard disk drive with the requested MP4 format copy. I am advised there are 3 poll cameras that produce a total of about 9 hours of footage. The footage is spread out over a number of folders in segments that are a function of the software, not the selection of the Commonwealth. I wonder if the footage will be inverted or mirrored. I'm sure we'll find out. Next, thumb drive labeled Gaetani Samsung. This thumb drive contains the raw data of the Commonwealth Celebrite extraction of Miss Gaetani's phone exactly as extracted. Beyond expressing my view that it is without merit, I will not respond to the various speculation in Mr. Bradel's motion and Mr. BEDEROW's letter as to the Commonwealth's tampering with the phone evidence by deleting things that you believe, quote, should be there. When your expert has reviewed the raw data, he can make his own judgment, and if necessary, you can renew your argument, citing specifics rather than speculating. Well, what you're going to find out is that Ms. Peter posted a lot of the missing stuff from that extraction herself. So, I don't know, stupid? Hubris? You decide. Next, thumb drive labeled Carney's iPhones. This thumb drive contains the raw data from the extractions of the defendant's iPhones. The Commonwealth has not progressed beyond the point of data extraction because Attorney Bradel notified Mr. Mello that there was attorney-client privileged material contained in the seized devices and that a taint team procedure would be necessary. Data was extracted pursuant to a search warrant and prior to the agreement with defense counsel to cease search of the items pending a taint team. As you are aware, the Commonwealth has a pending motion to establish such a team. Well, you may recall, I'm breaking from the document for a second to tell you that you may recall that when I went over the Brian Walsh documents the other day, all the search warrant documents involving Michael Proctor and Trooper Garino and some other players from the Karen Reed and Aiden Carney cases, Brian Walsh, who's accused of dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh, had his devices extracted and returned to him within 24 hours by the same players. Grand jury minutes of March 27th, 2024. As previously noted, the Commonwealth has already provided the defense with all of the Norfolk grand jury minutes encompassing all the witnesses and evidence the grand jury heard before returning the indictments of Mr. Carney before the court. On August 29th, Mr. Bradel asked if there was any other session, including anyone where a no bill may have been returned, and I indicated I would check. I did so, and the grand jury minutes of March 27th fit that description. Indeed, Mr. BEDEROW subsequently references them specifically in his letter of September 12, 2024, and I congratulate him on the accuracy and specificity of his information. Slow clap for Mr. BEDEROW. Guess what? I'm pretty sure Mark BEDEROW wouldn't ask for something unless he knows it exists. Just a gut feeling I get. Just like a lawyer does, never ask the question they don't know the answer to. So that was the grand jury, March 27th, 2024, wherein the Commonwealth was attempting to indict Karen Reed and Aidan Carney together for conspiracy. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Although these minutes post-date the indictments before the court, they do pertain to Mr. Carney, and they do contain testimony from Lieutenant Tully, one of the witnesses against Mr. Carney. I believe the defense is entitled to that testimony. Congratulations on your assessment, sir, counselor, my brother. See reporter's notes to Rule 14A1A2, quote, no requirement that grand jury testimony have been given before the grand jury which returned the indictment against the defendant, citation omitted, as long as that testimony is relevant to an issue at trial. I will not split hairs as to whether you are entitled to that portion of the minutes where Tully, the sole March 27th witness, oh, that's interesting, was not testifying. But I'm turning over the whole of the minutes, having sent them to you by email this morning. Tully was the only witness. Keep that in the back of your head for a second. Exhibits to grand jury minutes of March 27th, 2024. I draw your attention to page 2 of the 327 grand jury minutes listing exhibits. I believe that Exhibit 1, a thumb drive containing videos, encompassed videos previously shown to the grand jury, and you have been provided those in previous discovery. In any event, however, I'm providing you with a thumb drive duplicate of Exhibit 1 labeled Grand Jury 32724. I am informed by Lieutenant Tully that he had previously provided you with copies of almost everything else introduced as an exhibit. See his emails to Mr. Bradel of April 24th, 2024 at 11:18 a.m. and 10:15 a.m. He had not, however, turned over Grand Jury Exhibit 4, Summons to JetBlue, and accordingly, I'm providing you with copies in hand today. Oh, wait a second. So, you're telling me that Tully withheld something? First of all, it's not Tully's obligation to turn over discovery, counselor. It's yours. And now you're putting it right out there that they did not turn over this. They didn't turn over the summons to JetBlue, did they? Nope. Shocked? I'm not. That's just me. Wonder what that summons to JetBlue was for. That grand jury had to do with Karen Reed and Aidan Carney. But I digress. Curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae of Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully and Trooper Nicholas Garino are herewith provided. See Bradel motion to compel of August 28th, paragraph 2. I'm also turning over the CV of Stephen R. Verino, the Commonwealth Digital Examiner, for the proposed taint team. Mr. Bradel had previously indicated his approval of Mr. Verino's service in that role in open court, although I now understand the defense's position to be that it will file a motion which, if allowed, will render the taint team unnecessary. Yeah. Evidence records. I am today providing a property release receipt and an inventory document, each 1 page in length. See Bradel motion to compel of August 28th. That concludes the list of evidence I am providing today. As to further discovery regarding Trooper Proctor, the District Attorney's Office is in the process of an internal review as to what exculpatory evidence gleaned from recently acquired materials should be turned over in various pending cases, and I expect to have further details on that shortly. Fox guarding the henhouse. I do note that unlike the Reed case, where Mr. Proctor was the investigating officer, he did not investigate Mr. Carney and simply was a victim, like many of the other witnesses in the Reed case, of Mr. Carney's attempt to intimidate him. It is alleged, and that is what Aidan Carney is charged with, witness intimidation, felony witness intimidation, with a total prison sentence. I think we added it up the other day of something over 100 years. I'm not sure exactly what he did to allegedly intimidate a trooper, Trooper Proctor in this case. Maybe he called him a name or something. But he's going to have to testify as a victim and explain how whatever it is that Aidan Carney did hurt his feelings under the law. In order to convict him, you can't convict him without him testifying, right? As such, I doubt the admissibility of any of the material you are requesting in the present matter, although I recognize that discoverable material is not limited to admissible evidence, and thus, that is an argument for another day. How about you turn it over and the judge decides what's admissible? You don't get to make that determination, just like Carrie Morrissey didn't get to make that determination in the Alec Baldwin case in New Mexico, and that case was thrown out for that Brady violation. So go ahead. We've seen it happen on live national television, international television. I previously notified you of the pending internal affairs investigation of Lieutenant Tully, Trooper Proctor, and Sergeant Buchanan. 2 of those investigations are still open. That would be Tully and Proctor. Unless this was before Buchanan got his little 5-day slap on the wrist. Can't recall. In which case, it would just be Trooper Proctor that's pending. I can't even keep it straight anymore. So much news drops on this daily that it's hard. 2 of those investigations are still open. The investigation into Sergeant Buchanan was recently concluded with a disciplinary action announced this week and reported in the press. Nothing pertinent to these investigations will be available to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office until their conclusion, and we have yet to receive anything with respect to Sergeant Buchanan. As materials become available to us, we will review them for anything that should be turned over as exculpatory information. Again, you don't get to decide what's exculpatory. You don't get to decide that. I do take the opportunity to state that I disagree with Attorney Bederow's assertion that Sergeant Buchanan assuredly knew that the video shown at the Reed trial was an inverted image, that his direct testimony concealed critical evidence from the jury, or that he perjured himself at the Reed trial. Notice how the first Reed here is not capitalized, but the second one is. XOXO, Robert Cosgrove, Special Assistant District Attorney, copying the Norfolk Superior Court, Attorney Ken Mello, and Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully. I just thought of something, and I wonder if Tully's internal affairs investigation that is currently still ongoing, according to this letter, has anything to do with all of the stuff that we're going to learn today about Kate Peter and the setup of Aidan Carney. Maureen, thanks for becoming a new member. Moon Goddess, thanks for becoming a new member and for gifting 5 memberships. And to those of you who were randomly selected, welcome. Everyone, please smash the like button so that I don't have to turn off the air conditioning. That'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate you guys so much. Mama She, good morning. Looking beautiful. Oh, thank you. I took my kids to Disney World for fall break. Thanks to Milton we escaped and got home late. I'm so glad that you got home, Mama She. I'm so glad you got home and out of harm's way. I'm so sorry that your vacation was ruined, but better safe than sorry. Thank you, Mama She, for always being an amazing supporter of this channel. Cyber Chicken Boston, thanks for the 10. Watched it. Free Karen Reed, free Turtle Boy. My Commonwealth is a mystery. I don't know why anybody would want to live there after I read what I'm going to read to you, but thank you, Cyber Chicken Boston. Stay safe up there. Fairy Ducky, nope, not shocked. It's a quagmire of dirt. Thanks for being with me for 8 months. And Glamasuse, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. A lot of new members today. Thank you. Kaza, thanks for becoming a member. And Shauna, Mandolin Wind, thank you for gifting a membership. That's so sweet. Correct, Glamasuse. I think I just addressed this before I even saw your super chat. My Moss got his devices back in under 24 hours. They've had Aiden's devices for 364 days. Yep. Thank you. And yep. So here, I want to show you this because this is, there was a Chief Justice in the state of New York. His name was Saul Walkler. And he famously once said that a prosecutor could get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Well, in the case they tried to make against Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, they couldn't even find bologna or peanut butter or liverwurst. There was no there was no sandwich there, and they couldn't indict. And that is the grand jury that we were just talking about in that letter from March 27th of 2024, in which Tully was the only witness. Here's a news piece from whatever the hell news station this is, local NBC 10, I think, talking about in January of 2024 when they were trying to get Karen Reed on some other charges with Turtle Boy. Listen.
And we begin this Wednesday night with a new twist in the high-profile case involving Karen Reed. She is the woman on the left side of your screen. She's charged with killing her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. On the right is Aiden Kearney. He's a controversial blogger known as Turtle Boy, and he claims Reed is being framed in an elaborate cover-up involving law enforcement. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. I'm Corey Smith.
I'm JC Monahan. Now, fast forward to today when NBC 10 received new documents that show Reed and Kearney have had numerous conversations and that Reed fed him private information about her case. NBC 10's Michael Rosenfield.
I wonder who gave them those documents. You're going to hear Kate Peter talk about how she's got some amazing connections with local journalists.
Joining us live from Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham to explain what's going on with this, Michael.
JC, this has been a highly unusual case from the very beginning, and now it's taking another interesting turn. All of the new information we've been learning today coming from these court documents filed here at this courthouse in Dedham. In the high-profile Karen Reed case, a new twist. Court documents.
At least they used public documents instead of relying on a leak from one of their sources.
Allege she has been feeding confidential information to well-known blogger Aiden Kearney, who goes by the name Turtle Boy online. Reed is accused of running over her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, 2 years ago and leaving him to die in a snowstorm outside a home in Canton. Her lawyers say she's been framed and Kearney has taken up the claims. According to the state police affidavit, investigators believe Reed sent Kearney information about witnesses, like home addresses and pictures, autopsy photographs, crime scene photos, pictures of her car, and the 911 call made when her boyfriend's body was found.
This is a unique case.
Ken Mello is the special prosecutor brought in to handle allegations of witness intimidation connected to the Reed murder case. Kearney is already charged with witness intimidation, and now Reed could face similar charges as well.
This is all part of an investigation regarding the intimidation of witnesses. So if the evidence shows after we review everything that there was intimidation, either by way of conspiracy or otherwise, that would be a criminal charge.
Court documents indicate Reed and Kearney.
Who's intimidating who? This is January. This aired January 31st, 2024.
Communicated via intermediaries and the messaging app Signal, and also directly with 189 phone calls totaling more than 40 hours.
This is a serious breach of the court's rules.
Legal analyst Michael Coyne says a murder defendant sending non-public information about the case to an influential blogger would be highly unusual.
That's an awfully significant turn of events and may well mean that Ms. Reed is likely going to face additional criminal charges before this case is over.
No, actually, no, because they couldn't indict a
I have
fluff
reached
nutter
out to the
sandwich.
attorneys for Karen Reed today, but so far I have not yet heard back. Her murder trial is set to get underway here at this courthouse in Dedham in March. We're live in Dedham tonight. Michael Rosenfield, NBC 10 Boston.
Yeah, they did everything they could to try and get Karen Reed on some more charges. Are you shocked? Are you shocked? Who is this Kate Peter? I went over it at the beginning. She has a YouTube channel and a cesspool Twitter account called Mafia Masshole, and she has made it her life's mission to dox, terrorize, threaten, and harass people. Just people who talk about the Karen Reed case, who report on the Karen Reed case. And she used to work for Turtle Boy, and now her hatred for him has blinded her so badly that she is now become an informant for the Massachusetts State Police and Brian Tully, and aligned with some other women who also hate Turtle Boy so much that they were willing to set him up. And he did 60 days in jail. So keep that in mind too. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, you're one? Join the club. There's a lot of us, and we have receipts. We have receipts. So this is going to be fun. I don't think I've ever been so excited to like just read a letter to you. I need to find the where that sometimes my screens just like disappear. Hold on. Do 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 do. Where'd you go? Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Let the games begin. Story time with Melanie. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And what a tangled web we weave, because the roots of corruption and run deep. I present to you the latest letter from Mark BEDEROW, which is public record in the court file in the case of Aidan Carney versus Commonwealth versus Aidan Carney. Dear Messrs. Cosgrove and Mello, this is dated October 8th, 2024. Let me just thank I'm just a girl in the world for your 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I'm just a girl in the world. Reality check shared on X stating how appropriate that someone you tortured to assist in exposing you. Someone who tortured me. Don't drag me into this reality check. I don't want to be anywhere near this. I'm just reporting on it. They have already done enough. She and her cronies, her posse, her troll club. Dear Messrs. Cosgrove and Mello, on October 1st of 2024, Mr. Cosgrove provided the defense with a recording of Catherine Peters' February 26, 2024 call to the Dedham police about an alleged incident that occurred outside the Norfolk County Superior Court, where a large crowd had gathered for a hearing in the Karen Reed case. Ms. Peter told the police that Aidan Carney was violating a restraining order by being within 100 yards of Lindsay Gaetani as he stood outside of the Norfolk Superior Court while Ms. Gaetani was inside the courthouse. Considering this recording and irrefutable evidence that Ms. Peter was or is a source for the Massachusetts State Police investigation into Mr. Carney, we anticipate that she will be a witness at Mr. Carney's upcoming trials. There it is. She's a source for the MSP and or the district attorney's office. This was in February 26th of 2024. It was like 2 days, maybe, or 3 days after Aidan Carney had been released from jail And you may remember this because we were watching the hearing together. And he was forced to leave the courtroom because she had an order of protection against him. And the O'Keefes brought her to court. In view of Ms. Peters' status as an MSP source, any communications and evidence in her possession regarding the investigation and prosecution of Mr. Carney is deemed to be within your possession, custody, and control. Take note of those words. It is deemed to be within your possession, custody, and control. Whether it is or not, it is deemed to be under the law. See Commonwealth v. Pope, which says, prosecution's disclosure obligation extends to anyone who has participated in the investigation or evaluation of the case and who either regularly report or with reference to the particular case have reported to the prosecution. You'll see that she's bragged about it under oath in court. Accordingly, pursuant to Brady v. Maryland, Giglio v. the United States, Graham v. District Attorney for Hampden District, and Rule 14 of the Massachusetts Rules of Criminal Procedure, we demand disclosure of any evidence that Ms. Peter acted as an informant or agent of the MSP or Norfolk County District Attorney's Office or Special Assistant District Attorneys prosecuting Mr. Carney, the Commonwealth, including but not limited to. Oh, you get him. You get him, Law Daddy. Whether she is registered as an informant, whether she is active or was deactivated, names of any MSP handlers, when she became a source, when she started assisting the MSP and or the Commonwealth with respect to Mr. Carney, and any benefits, promises, rewards, leniency in her own criminal matters or inducements she sought, received, or expects in connection with her cooperation of Mr. Carney. Anybody who has ever watched an episode of any Law and Order ever knows that confidential informants get something in return. They don't just do it out of the goodness of their heart. They get it because they're given something, right? Quid pro quo, money, leniency, help. B, all evidence and information in whatever form Ms. Peter furnished to the Commonwealth and or MSP involving the investigation or prosecution of Mr. Carney. C, any records of Ms. Peters' communications, including, but not limited to, email, calls, text messages, instant messages, Instagram direct messages, Discord messages, Facebook messages, Twitter X messages, or any other third-party messaging applications related to her contacts and interactions with Mr. Carney, Ms. Gaetani, Leah Genduso, the Commonwealth, MSP, or any other law enforcement agency regarding Mr. Carney between October 1, 2023 and the present. And any documentation or memorialization of statements made by Ms. Peter to the Commonwealth, MSP, or any other law enforcement agency regarding Mr. Carney and or Ms. Gaetani in any form, including but not limited to written reports, notes, email, text messages, audio or video recording. They want it all. From October 1 of 2023 until today, or until they turn it over. Okay. Oh, hey, Jen, I've been practicing law for over 30 years in New York State and federal courts. I'm a trial lawyer, plaintiff's attorney. I'm currently enjoying retirement for now, talking to you on YouTube. Ms. Peters' role as a source for the Commonwealth. Let's hear about it. Ms. Peter and Mr. Carney are former colleagues who have publicly feuded for years. Motivated by hatred for Mr. Carney, Ms. Peter aligned herself with Ms. Gaetani and others who disliked Mr. Carney's reporting, including members of the Albert and McCabe families. There it is. There it is. The Albert and McCabe families has chosen this woman to align with. Some of whom are named in the first indictment against Mr. Carney. These alliances have enabled her to exploit the criminal justice system in furtherance of her effort to ruin Mr. Carney. Ms. Peters' dedication to this task was so thorough that the MSP and Commonwealth utilized her services to assist them in their investigation and prosecution of Mr. Carney, Ms. Peter, of Mr. Carney, period. Midnight Moon's like, need a new group. I've been personally attacked by Kate Peter. I don't know what Scott's saying. We know about the kids. Please leave the kids out of it. Yeah, please leave the kids out of it. Also, please do not put her nickname in the chat. I know that many of you know it. I think it's disgusting and vile, and it'll be deleted. So please just don't do it. Thank you. Appreciate you guys so much. I'm trying really hard today to keep it like, you know, as calm as I can. But this enrages me, and it should outrage you too. Because the first time when I said Karen Reed is you, Karen Reed is me, Karen Reed is your sister, my sister, your daughter, your niece, Karen Reed could be any one of us. So could Aiden Carney. And if you're a journalist in any other state, you should be paying particular attention to this, because this was done not for no other reason than to shut him up, because they didn't like that maybe he was getting a little too close to the truth of what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. And you know what? We're never going to know exactly what happened to Officer John O'Keefe, because the investigation was so bungled from jump that we will never know. And every single person who is a free Karen Reed or wearing a pink shirt wants justice for John O'Keefe. That's what this is about. But you don't get justice for John O'Keefe by framing the girl and trying to put her in jail for life in order to cover up whatever else happened. Whether it was an accident, whether it was an assault. That's not justice for John O'Keefe. And there is nobody wearing a pink shirt who doesn't want justice for John O'Keefe. There are some people who just want Aiden Carney in prison, and they'll do whatever it takes to put him there. And he did 60 days, by the way. There is no journalistic privilege in Massachusetts. Doesn't exist there. Just like a lot of other things don't exist there. Like, you know, freedom of speech, the First Amendment. Ms. Peters' dedication to this task was so thorough that the MSP and Commonwealth utilized her services to assist them in their investigation and prosecution of Mr. Carney. Ms. Peter, who had no direct involvement in these matters and is not an alleged victim, was provided Mr. Mello's and Massachusetts State Police Detective Lieutenant Tully's private cell phone numbers. Thus, Ms. Peter had the ability to call and text both on their private devices. Classy outrage movement. We're here for it. Thanks, Robin. Why would they give this woman this whack job, in my opinion? Mr. Mello, who is the special district attorney assigned to prosecute Aiden Carney, because the Norfolk district attorney had to recuse himself. Their private cell phone numbers. Oh, you're going to find out why when she's texting Lindsay Gaetani about it. Those of you who don't know who Lindsay Gaetani is, she was Aiden Carney's girlfriend. She's a former girlfriend of his who was manipulated by Kate Peter, Massachusetts State Police, Tully, and Mello into fabricating charges against Aiden Carney to get him to violate his bail conditions in the witness intimidation charges and throw him in the pokey for 60 days. And he says, without Kate Peter, I never would have been charged. She was the driving force behind all of this. It was all her idea. Marcy isn't that smart. May very well be that she reached out to them. Everyone on the internet, everyone in the cesspool of Twitter, was no secret how much she hates you and me and many other people out there who had, the cojones to point out that maybe Officer John O'Keefe was not hit by a car. And that comes from my 30 years experience of litigating all kinds of injury cases, not just sex abuse cases against the Catholic Church, but car accidents involving pedestrians, dog bite cases. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that the injuries sustained by Officer John O'Keefe did not come from a car. They just didn't. They just didn't. That's why I became interested in this case. Nothing to do with Turtle Boy. I had never read an article of his ever when I started reporting on this case. And I still haven't read, I've read maybe 3 of them total. Anybody with half a brain could figure that out. Why are people so mean? I don't know, Mary. I don't know. I don't know. Don't even go on there. It's just a cesspool. Thanks, Patty. A couple of things get me outraged. This is one of them because, you want to drag me into it personally. Karma has your address. Just like you tried to put my address out there on Twitter. Don't worry. Don't worry. Like you say, we've archived everything. As a valued source of information against Mr. Carney, source in quotes, Ms. Peter has presented the MSP with video evidence, scoured Mr. Carney's online presence, and reported things to the MSP that they can't find or document, including a 30-second clip of a video that Ms. Peters sent to Tully, which the Commonwealth used to secure Mr. Carney's indictment for wiretapping. She's the one who gave them that video. The grand jury transcript of Lieutenant John Fanning, February 22nd, 2024. So that grand jury, a lot of grand juries in this case, I know it's so hard to keep them straight. Might need Brandy Churchwell to do a chart on this. But the February 22nd of 2024 grand jury, which apparently was heard just like a day or two after he got out of jail. When did he get out of jail? When did you get out of jail? It'll say, or maybe you were still in jail. That was wiretapping. Because apparently you need 2-party consent. You need parties' consent to tape their phone calls in Massachusetts. Otherwise they'll convene a grand jury to indict you on wiretapping charges too. Especially if you're a journalist who might be getting, a little too close for comfort, right? That was the transcript was from February 22nd, 2024, 2/22/24. Evil knows no boundaries, Zelda Kelly. Thank you, Zelda. I know you know. Evil knows no boundaries. Might need to do a reading on this later, Zelda. Shauna, why does she care about his personal life? I don't know really what the beef is, but she has made it her life's mission to try and destroy him and anyone else who's speaking out about the Karen Read case. And based on the timeline here, kind of makes sense. You got out of jail the day before, February 22nd. So you got out of jail 2/21. All right, I'll put it on my little chart here. Lindsay called me on Facebook Messenger that day. All right, thank you so very much. Hell hath no fury. That's why. Yep. You know, it's a great word for that? Schadenfreude. For those of you who don't know what Schadenfreude is, Schadenfreude is a German word that means pleasure derived from another person's misfortune. Schadenfreude. Word of the day. On February 26th of 2024, several hours after Ms. Peter called the police to help orchestrate Mr. Carney's prosecution for allegedly violating a restraining order, she left Mr. Carney 2 crude, harassing, and in part threatening voicemails. In the first message, Ms. Peter gloated about her value as a source to the Commonwealth. Hey, faggot, it's Kate. Kate Peter, you know? There's the nickname. KP. You know, every time you get a blocked number, it's not Lindsay or LG or anyone else, it's me. And I just want to let you know that when you go back to jail, I had absolutely everything to effing do with it because you are a dumb mofo. I'm going to get the best of you. You're a bad person and everybody's going to see it. Have a nice day. By the way, Karen Reed wants nothing to do with you. Go F yourself, biatch. I meant it. Obviously, she said the words, and I'm just trying to be respectful of those of you who are listening at work and or without headphones with your children in the room. In the second harassing and threatening message, Ms. Peter demonstrated her familiarity with and incorrect understanding of the Massachusetts witness intimidation statute. I'm not afraid of you. I never witness intimidated you. You are not a witness in any case. You are just a small-dicked effing faggot who likes to prey on women. Call me back, mofo. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Leah and Lindsay. Let's talk about what you did to Jen McCabe and Colin Albert, a 19-year-old juvenile. How's your wife doing, by the way? How are your abused and neglected children doing, by the way? Call me back, you effing faggot. I'll drive over to your parents' house right now. F you. She calls herself that nickname. I just hate it. I just think it's disgusting. I don't even like the word panties. That's like one of those words that I just hate. Footnote 1, Ms. Peter assuredly knew that as a criminal defendant, Mr. Carney qualified as a protected potential witness and someone aware of information, records, or documents or objects related to a violation of criminal law under MGL 268, Section 13BB. Remember, they arrested Brian Walsh on that statute too, under that statute, witness intimidation. Her brazen statement that Mr. Carney was not a witness and belief that she had carte blanche to unload a barrage of crude, harassing, and threatening statements to a possible witness without filing the witness intimidation statute evinces her knowledge of the significance of having Ms. Gaetani classified as a witness by Mr. Mello. And we went through that in BEDEROW's September 12th letter. Ms. Peter, whose calls to Carney were designed solely to harass and humiliate, remains uncharged for her clear violations of the witness intimidation statute. On February 26, 2024, and then he puts in parentheses, her conduct is within the statute of limitations, as if to say, you could still charge her if you're going to do the right thing. You don't get to selectively prosecute the law based on who you hate and who you're trying to shut up and who you don't want leaving rubber duckies around town. But Rich, who's charged with that, is also charged with littering statute that hasn't probably been prosecuted ever. I don't know. Maybe it has. Well, Mr. Carney, a practicing journalist whose reports on the Karen Reed case exposed possible corruption and an alleged cover-up involving several of the MSP and civilian witnesses against him, is under indictment for making phone calls, expressing his opinion, reporting, and encouraging further discussion on a controversial and high-profile criminal case of public concern. Oh, stay safe, Kathy. Stay safe in the in the path of Milton. We're praying for you, Kathy, and everyone else down there. Hopefully I can distract you for a little while. On March 11th of 2024, Ms. Peter again took credit for her substantial contributions to the Commonwealth and MSP, boasting under oath that Mr. Carney is angry and upset with me because I've been cooperating with the prosecution and giving them information on him. He can blame me for all his problems because I am furnishing information. Literally bragging about it in open court under oath. Can't make this up. You cannot make this up, OnlyFan. Can imagine me getting in armor and going back to prosecute this vile woman. So fun. That receipt is contained within the audio transcript of Carney versus Peter in the Leominster District Court. So Aiden was trying to get a restraining order against her. I think he has one against her. And she boasted under oath during that hearing on March 11th. On September 5th of 2024, testifying in a West Roxbury manner, in which she was accused of witness intimidation and violation of a restraining order, Ms. Peter described herself as a potential witness in Mr. Carney's criminal cases. Oh, now she's a witness. She's a witness, and she's testifying about it under oath, bragging about it, that she's going to be a witness in his criminal cases because she's the one providing them with information about him and orchestrating the setup to get him arrested. Wow. She swore under oath that when she saw her accuser on October 11th of 2023 in the Stoughton District Court where Mr. Carney was being arraigned, she was there to meet Mr. Mello, even though she wasn't named as an alleged victim in that or any other case. Huh. I don't know who this case in West Roxbury was, who was trying to get a restraining order against her in West Roxbury. But she swore under oath that when she was there on October 11th, 2023, she was there to meet with Mello. Why else would she be meeting with Mello, the special prosecutor against Aiden Carney? Just strange credulity, right? Ms. Peters, and then we get to footnote 3, which says minutes later, after testifying that she was there to meet Mr. Mello, even though she wasn't named as an alleged victim in that or any other case, Ms. Peters sent Mr. Carney the following message on Discord. Aiden, you dickless F word again. Answer your phone. They've got all the receipts, right? If Turtle Boy is intimidating, what is KP? Maybe KP is being protected as an informant. I can't even say confidential informant because she's broadcasting all over the place that she's doing it. Actually, okay, I'm sorry. That footnote 2 was after that phone call where she said, call me back, you effing faggot. I'll drive over to your parents' house right now. F you. That second footnote goes there. Minutes later, Ms. Peters sent Mr. Carney the following message on Discord. Aiden, you dickless F, answer your phone. And then, after saying that KP was there to meet Mr. Mello, even though she wasn't named as an alleged victim in that or any other case, is footnote 3, which says, "We intend to examine Miss Peter and Mr. Mello under oath about the purposes of this meeting and the substance of their conversations at the January 10th, 2025 evidentiary hearing on our motion to disqualify Mr. Mello under Rule 3.7 of the Massachusetts Rules of Professional Conduct." Massachusetts rules of professional conduct are the ethics rules by which every attorney is bound. And I pointed out before that in addition to taking the bar exam, which is a 2-day exam, 2 full days of bar exams, you also have to take an ethics exam on the rules of professional conduct to be sworn in as an attorney. So even if you pass the bar, if you don't pass the ethics portion, which is a whole separate test on a whole different day, you're not getting your license. Rule 3.7 says a lawyer shall not act as an advocate at a trial in which the lawyer is likely to be a necessary witness unless the testimony relates to an uncontested issue, the testimony relates to the nature and value of legal services rendered in the case, or disqualification of the lawyer would work substantial hardship on the client. Well, none of those exceptions apply here. So there's that. Ms. Peters' working relationship with the MSP and Commonwealth is so strong that the Norfolk County DA's office has recused itself from 2 witness intimidation prosecutions currently pending against her in Norfolk County. Indeed, Ms. Peter admitted as much to Ms. Gaetani, who documented this fact in a text message Lindsay sent to Ms. Peter on December 12th of 2023. Aiden thinks your case is being moved because he is the conflict of interest. He has no idea it's because you are working with the police. LOL. Emphasis in original. Oh, he has receipts, Princess Scone. My friend Mark BEDEROW does not show up without receipts. They've got the entire extraction of Lindsay's phone that was given to them by Tully. There it is. It goes without saying that any evidence within your possession, custody, or control related to Ms. Peters' relationship with the Commonwealth and MSP, including her possible motive to favor the prosecution over Mr. Carney, must be disclosed under Brady and its progeny. Footnote 4. I need a sip. Hold on. Getting parched. Thank you, Sarah and Shock and Horror. She's an amazing moderator and such an amazing supporter of the channel, even before she became a moderator. I love you too. Prayers for Enrique's family today. Today is the graduation of the Massachusetts State Police Training Academy, in which Enrique Delgado Garcia would have graduated. And instead, he is dead as the result of something that happened at the training academy that they were calling a medical event during a routine boxing exercise. And it has been almost 4 weeks since his death, and there's been a special investigator appointed, and we've heard nothing. And yes, thank you for that. Fairy Ducky, thanks for the 5. I remember how upset you were after Kate's behavior towards you, your family. Karma is sweet. No, it was a case of mistaken identity. She and her fellow witches thought I was some person on Twitter called Haley that publicly released some documents about Lindsay. It wasn't me. Haley has since been found out, and it wasn't me. I haven't heard an apology. They were relentless. Some guy with cancer, thanks. Ken Mello is certainly special. Off topic. Okay, I can't go off topic right now. Thank you for the super chat. I'll go back to that later. Thanks for becoming a member, Kat. Okay, SIRI. I didn't call you. I didn't put that up. Oh, and Yuri's math teacher, one of the most generous contributors to the channel, just gifted 5 memberships too. Thank you, Yuri's math teacher. Notwithstanding, here's the footnote, notwithstanding the Norfolk County DA's office's recusal on Ms. Peters' criminal matters, that office inexplicably represented the Commonwealth at her most recent arraignment for witness intimidation on October 1st of 2024. Oh, wow. Just 9 days ago. So they recused themselves on 2 other cases before this because she was working with the police and the DA. And yet they choose to not recuse themselves 9 days ago on her latest witness intimidation case. That appearance afforded the Commonwealth with a strong basis to seek revocation of her bail, which would have been an expected motion from a disinterested prosecutor, given that Ms. Peter has 4 pending witness intimidation cases. However, on information and belief, the Norfolk County DA's office did not notify the court about Ms. Peters' special relationship with the Commonwealth and MSP. They're all going down. They're all all together now. Ready? Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. It's like the best game of dominoes ever. The best game of dominoes ever. She should have had her bail revoked 9 days ago. But the DA's office didn't recuse themselves and they didn't tell the court on information and belief. We don't know if they told the court. If they told the court would have said, okay, well, you can't prosecute this. You got to recuse yourself, as you know, counselor. But no, they didn't do it. Consequently, the court likely was kept ignorant about their special relationship and wasn't presented with an application to revoke Ms. Peters' bail. Was that the quid pro quo? Was that the quid pro quo? Yeah, you've been helping us all along, feeding us information, setting up the bowling pins. And yeah, we're gonna call in a friendly here. We're gonna do you a solid, not ask the judge to revoke your bail 9 days ago. In these circumstances, there is at least an appearance of preferential treatment provided to Ms. Peter by the Norfolk County DA's office due to her cooperation against Mr. Carney. Mark, I commend you for not being snarky the way that Cosgrove was to you in his last letter to you. Not being petty, because I can't even control myself just talking to YouTube. I don't know if I could do it in a letter. Well done. As explained supra, page 6, Ms. Peter has described herself as a potential witness against Mr. Carney. It made little sense for Mr. Mello to meet with Ms. Peter on the day of Mr. Carney's arraignment for charges that didn't involve her, unless, just as Ms. Peter and Lieutenant Fanning testified, she was a valuable source for the Commonwealth and MSP in their investigation of Mr. Carney. Ding, 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 ding. Mic drop, says Nicole Steiger. Mark BEDEROW is a class act. Says Brit Gal. And Zelda Kelly's going to do a reading on this and she's going to be snarky in it. I'm here for it. Ms. Peters' involvement in the cases involving Ms. Gaetani is more apparent. So, just to recap for you, in case you're so confused, like what's happening here. She met with Mello on the day that Mr. Carney was arraigned back in October. That was October 11th of 2023. Aiden, if I get anything wrong, just correct me in the comments. It is so disturbing, her obsession with Aiden. She was there in Stoughton to meet with Mello. Those were charges of witness intimidation against Aiden for people like Proctor, Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert. The list goes on and on. I forget how many of them there were, maybe 10. Then she's going to collude now to get him indicted on something else, or to get him at least to revoke his bail conditions. And that is where Lindsay Gaetani came in. Lindsay Gaetani, who was recently jilted by Aiden Carney. What better person to get involved in your plot? Evidence from the extraction report of Ms. Gaetani's cellular phone demonstrates that Ms. Peter advised Ms. Gaetani throughout the process that resulted in Ms. Gaetani's accusing Mr. Carney of crimes. And that happened, to refresh your recollection, those alleged acts were in December, right before Christmas. 2 months after the October court appearance where she was meeting with Mello. For example, in early December of 2023, when Ms. Peter leveraged her special relationship with the Commonwealth and MSP and urged Ms. Gaetani to speak with Mr. Mello. On the morning of December 11th, 2023, just hours before Ms. Gaetani and Leah Genduso workshopped making Ms. Gaetani a witness against Mr. Carney, so Ms. Gaetani could, quote, play him at his own game and have him jailed. That was in the last stream, the letter from September 12th, and we read all those text messages. Leah Genduso also hates Aiden Carney because she wrote an article about him, and I think she was dishonorably discharged maybe from the MSP. I think she may also be an ex-girlfriend with a beef. Ms. Peter encouraged Ms. Gaetani to speak directly and secretly with Mr. Mello. Ms. Peter's reasoning was to prevent the existence and substance of the conversation from being discovered by Mr. Carney or others who might later seek access to public records. Listen to this. Here's the receipt. Ms. Peter. This is, when is this? Early December. This is December. Early December. It says, Ms. Peter, I'm going to work on getting you some legal protection here. Ms. Gaetani, how? Ms. Peter, I'm going to call Mello in a bit when shit calms down here. Feel out the situation. You have some information that would certainly be an incentive for the powers that be to protect you. Don't tell anyone we've talked, please. Incentive. What do they give informants? Incentive. She knows the lingo. She goes on to say, I've got his cell number. It can't be FOIA'd. His line is obviously not recorded. LOL. Hello? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? I've got his personal cell number. It can't be FOIA'd. Can you say? I mean, I could think of a lot of words. A lot of words I could think of. Collusion, conspiracy. The receipts. A second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Okay. I know you were asking for Tully's number yesterday, but it's actually better to go straight to Mello at this point. Straight to Mello. Honestly, they take more info than they give, LOL. Common misconception that I get my info from the DA or MSP. I don't, generally speaking. I just have a really good relationship with, wait for it, the O'Keefes, Alberts, McCabe's, and several local journalists working on this thing. That's who they've chosen to align themselves with, my friends. The O'Keefes, the Alberts, the McCabe's, and several local journalists working on this thing. We just watched a news clip. We've seen the news be pretty biased against Karen Reed from the beginning, from day one, when they said they had ring footage of the incident of Karen Reed hitting John O'Keefe with her car. They didn't have it. Here it is. Here's the receipt. I just have a really good relationship with the O'Keefes, Alberts, McCabe's, and several local journalists working on this thing. Footnote 5. That's where she got her incentive, maybe, to attack every single person who didn't think Karen Reed was guilty. So deep it seems endless. Endless. Simply Bell says. Margaret can't even muster anything more than an OMG. Yep, Lindsay Hendricks, not to be confused with Lindsay Gaetani, says, well, way to put it all in one message, girl. LOL. Going to footnote 5 about the local journalists. That evening, Ms. Peter enticed Ms. Gaetani to speak with a journalist preparing an expose on Mr. Carney. Guess who that was? After impressing Ms. Gaetani by describing her direct relationship with the reporter, including that she had dinner with the reporter, Ms. Peter urged Ms. Gaetani to share her invaluable perspective with the reporter. The next day, Ms. Gaetani, who had not yet spoken to Mr. Mello, replied, OMG, really? I'll gladly talk with this reporter. Gretchen Voss. There was something else mentioned on Turtle Boy stream last night that I'm not going to repeat because I cannot confirm it. But do you remember during our pretrial breakdown of this case, there were motions. There were motions to get all Gretchen Voss's notes because she did that article for Boston Magazine. She apparently had dinner with KP. And that is where Boston Magazine gets its information. Rico Suave. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a document more than this one. Going back to her last message in this thread, or in this document, in this paragraph anyway, KP says, okay, so I did talk to Mello, quote, off the record with some specifics. Footnote 6. On December 28th, 2023, Mr. Mello told the Fall River Reporter that Ms. Gaetani, quote, recently became a witness after we received some communication from her. See Exhibit A to the last letter of BEDEROW on September 12th. You just can't make that. You just cannot make this up. You just can't. You just can't. The special assistant district attorney colluding with the ex-girlfriend of the journalist that he wants to incarcerate. You just can't make it up. Ms. Peter then provided Ms. Gattani with Mr. Mello's private cell phone number. That's in the September 12th letter as well. Left unanswered is with what Ms. Peter and Mr. Mello discussed during any, quote, off-the-record conversations, and what Ms. Gaetani and Mr. Mello discussed in conversations that Ms. Peter suggested should be held in a manner designed to avoid possible disclosure. Similarly, as illustrated by their text exchange from the evening of December 13th, 2023, footnote 7, once again, based on the substance of Ms. Gaetani's responses, it appears that some of Ms. Peters' responses are not included in the extraction report of Ms. Gaetani's phone. Are you shocked? Are you shocked that messages would just disappear? In the extraction that the Commonwealth turned over to the defense? Are you shocked? Start that sentence again. Similarly, as illustrated by their text exchange from the evening of December 13th, 2023, the defense is entitled to know what advice Ms. Peter provided Ms. Gattani, who was concerned about her own criminal exposure shortly before she spoke to the MSP for the first time. Ms. Gattani says, I'm worried now. KP says, worried about? Ugh, now I'm worried. Gattani says, no, just worried for Jane. Was that considered witness intimidation? I can't even remember now what the tweets said that he was mentioned in. Ms. Peters says, she said nothing that any reasonable person could reach and say is witness intimidation. Now she's giving legal advice. Ms. Gattani, okay. Well, I'm going to be calling you before my meeting tomorrow anyway with more questions about this. I feel like that's something that he would try to do and wasn't even thinking of that. Who is Jane, you might ask? Who is Jane and why is Lindsay worried about Jane? Some random account on Twitter who may be charged with witness intimidation. Why is Lindsay so worried for Jane? Well, according to footnote 8, as you're aware, Ms. Gaetani lied to Ms. Peter, among others, about the identity of Jane. Ms. Gaetani is Jane. She created that fake Twitter persona on her cell phone in October of 2023 to anonymously communicate with people who disliked Mr. Carney and to release harmful information about him. See the September 12th letter. The above text suggests that Ms. Gaetani was concerned that if she spoke to the MSP and gave them her cell phone, they would discover that she was Jane and that she violated the same witness intimidation statute that she, Ms. Peter, and Ms. Genduso sought to exploit as the basis for Mr. Carney's arrest and incarceration. That is just one of the reasons why Lindsay Gattani did not want the MSP to find her phone, because she, Jane's addiction, was afraid that when they found out that she was Jane, she too could be prosecuted under the witness intimidation statute. But she should know that she really has nothing to worry about because Norfolk County District Attorney's Office has a very selective prosecution or persecution of the law. Jane says, that's it. Jane says, that is a song, Joseph Kane. Thank you. Jane says, that is a Jane's Addiction song. Not even, I can't even say Sweet Jane because it ain't Sweet Jane. Lauren sums it up nicely. These people are sick. Ms. Peter also was the driving force for Mr. Carney's arrest for his alleged violation of a restraining order on February 26 of 2024. Mr. Carney, who had been released from jail on February 23rd of 2024, announced the following evening on his Turtle Boy live show that he would be attending the February 26th Karen Reed hearing. Footnote 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, points out to us, as I mentioned before, that Mr. Carney had had his bail revoked after his arrest for the events of December 23rd of 2023, for which they set him up. He did 60 days. December 23 to February 23. Not sure if he exactly went in on December 23, but whatever it was 60 days. They wanted to keep him for 90, but it was against the rules. Charma Lily's like, don't insult my Jane's addiction like that. A review of the communications between Ms. Gattani and Ms. Peter demonstrates that they regularly watched and discussed Mr. Carney's live shows. Oh, that reminds me, to anybody who's hate watching, just smash the like button. I'm not going to kill you. They're all watching. Everybody's watching. Several weeks earlier in January 2024, Ms. Peter told Ms. Gattani that Paul O'Keefe, the brother of Boston police officer John O'Keefe, wanted to meet her. Let that marinate a second. Let that marinate a second. Paul O'Keefe wanted to meet Lindsay. Why? Why would Paul O'Keefe want to meet Aiden Carney's ex-girlfriend in January of 2024? Why? Didn't he have enough to worry about with the upcoming criminal trial of Karen Reed? Paul O'Keefe has entered the chat. Ms. Gattani excitedly responded, Paul O'Keefe wants to talk to me? Emphasis in original, with the me all in caps. In April 2024, Ms. Gattani, who had not attended any other Reed proceedings, testified that she went to the February 26, 2024 appearance at the personal invitation of Paul O'Keefe. Oop, there it is. Oop, there it is. She testified under oath in April of 2024. That's why she went to court on February 26, 3 days after Aiden was just released from his 60-day stint, so that, presumably, if Lindsay showed up in court and she had a stay-away order against Aiden, Aiden couldn't go to court. And they knew he was going to be there because they watch his show, and he announced it on his show. Huh. Wow. Huh. Okay. Mr. O'Keefe's communications with Mr. Carney contradict Ms. Gattani. So he's calling her a liar. In July of 2024, Mr. O'Keefe denied inviting Ms. Gattani to court. He told Mr. Carney there was a, quote, miscommunication, but Ms. Gattani didn't, quote, lie because she, quote, thought Mr. O'Keefe invited her. Well, I mean, if that person communicating with Aiden in July of 2024 really was Paul O'Keefe, which I have my doubts about, but I cannot confirm or deny. Need some lip balm. Hold on. Mr. O'Keefe's explanation suggests that Ms. Peter told Ms. Gattani that Mr. O'Keefe wanted her to appear in court to entice Ms. Gattani, who had an open restraining order against Mr. Carney, to attend. Ms. Peters' communications with Ms. Gattani and Mr. O'Keefe will shed light on this question. In any event, it appears that Ms. Peter coordinated Ms. Gattani's presence at the February 26, 2024 appearance to make sure Mr. Carney would not be able to attend. Well, that's best case. All right, and to increase the likelihood that Mr. Carney would be arrested if he went to the courthouse. Ding, 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 ding. One of my chatters is of the opinion that Paul is in on the setup. The opinions of my viewers are not necessarily my opinions. Thank you. Thank you, KK. Heflin3. This is the best chat on YouTube and the best channel. Thank you for all that you do for all of us. Bravo. Thank you for watching. Jenny Gray says, this is egregious. I keep thinking of what really happened to John O'Keefe. No justice here with all this insanity. Miss Peter accomplished her goals. Mr. Carney was required to leave the courtroom after Ms. Gattani arrived with her restraining order in hand. She brought her restraining order with her. If that doesn't scream setup, I don't know what does. He, meaning Aiden, went outside and began a live stream to explain the situation to his interested viewers. Ms. Peter, who wasn't even there, immediately called the police while Ms. Gattani was still in the courtroom to report that Mr. Carney, here's the transcript of the call she made to 911, and Aiden played it on his show last night. That's right, I will. You cannot tell the Karen Reed case story properly without sharing the Turtle Boy case story. They have become inextricably intertwined. Phoebe says, if you bring a copy of the restraining order, that is premeditation. This is the transcript of the 911 call. If you want to watch Turtle Boy's show from last night, he plays the actual call, wherein KP says, he was just removed from the courtroom. He's in violation of a restraining order. He refuses to leave the courthouse steps. He's within 100 yards of this victim, and he's currently screeching how she's there. He's definitely in violation of the restraining order. You might want to get someone down here. Footnote 10. On March 14th, 2024, Mr. Mello attempted to use this incident as a basis to revoke Mr. Carney's bail. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Like, you cannot make this up anymore. So on March 14th, Mello goes into court and tries to get the judge to revoke his bail based on the fact that he was on the courthouse steps after he left the courtroom because she shows up with her restraining order to get him out of the courtroom because Paul O'Keefe invited her there. After an evidentiary hearing at which the Dedham police officers who interacted with Mr. Carney and Ms. Gattani on February 26, 2024 testified, the court refused to detain Mr. Carney. On April 26, 2024, after an evidentiary hearing at which Mrs. Gattani testified about her version of what occurred on February 26, the court lessened the conditions of the restraining order against Mr. Carney. Shows you how credible the court, judge, magistrate, whoever heard that hearing, thought she was. So not only was Kate Peter behind the orchestration of the December 23rd event involving Ms. Gattani. Remember the last text messages from the last letters we read? Mello is our only hope. Not only did she orchestrate that, She orchestrated Lindsay Gattani getting invited to court by Paul O'Keefe in February to try again. Because, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Next section is entitled, Ms. Peters' communications are discoverable and favorable. Communications and statements of Ms. Peter are discoverable under Brady, Giglio, and Rule 14, irrespective of whether you intend to call her as a prosecution witness. The Commonwealth is in possession, custody, and control of the requested evidence. See Pope. See Pope at page 799, which on information and belief tends to support the defense position that Mrs. Peters' animus towards Mr. Carney led her to A, gather evidence against Mr. Carney at the behest of the Commonwealth and MSP, and then provide it to them. B, orchestrate Mr. Carney's arrests by using her special relationship with the Commonwealth and MSP. And C, befriend Ms. Gattani for the purpose of cajoling her to accuse Mr. Carney of criminal conduct. What he's saying here in a very kind way is that, Lindsay, you were used. You were used. Does anyone know if they're still friends? Are Kate and Lindsay still friends? Thanks, Little Cupcake, for the PSA. Innocent officers don't need to frame others. John's other shoe. John's other shoe has entered the chat. Name of the day. Haven't seen you yet, unless you had a different name and you changed it. I thought, are you writing briefs for Mr. Attorney Mark BEDEROW yet? No, that's not my strength. My strength is not in legal writing. I had people for that. But he is an excellent wordsmith. The last message from Ms. Peter that appears on the extraction report from Ms. Gattani's cell phone was sent on December 14th of 2023 at 1:16 a.m. It is hard to accept as coincidence. You know what I would have used there? It strains credulity. But that's just me. Same thing. It's hard to accept as coincidence that Ms. Peters' communications seemingly cease shortly after Ms. Gattani's text to Ms. Peter about her interactions with Mr. Mello and D.L. Tully and Jennifer McCabe's feedback on Ms. Gattani's meeting with Tully. Oh, Jen McCabe's feedback. Jen McCabe's feedback was really important to Lindsay. You're going to see. You're going to see. December 14th of 2023. These are Lindsay's texts to Kate. 3:10. Hey, they just left. 3:45. Depends on your definition of good. Sorry, I know the anticipation is killing you. At 3:48. Yeah, no bueno on that front. 3:51. I know, Mello told me yesterday not to worry about anything, but I was told something entirely different today. I'll explain when I call. 4:24 p.m. Ms. Gattani calls Miss Peter. They speak on the phone for 2 hours and 32 minutes. Oh, no way. Oh, no, I didn't see this. Stephanie says, Melanie, did you hear Kate Peter in one of her court appearances say it strains credulity? I was so mad. She watches, she watches my show. She makes hate videos about me. That's hilarious, though. I did not know that. Yep, more missing texts, says Fairy Ducky. And Shauna Mandolin Wynn says, geez, Jen McCabe is in on this too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, John's other shoe. No, there's been a running joke about Mr. Attorney Mark BEDEROW writing his own brief. He probably does. I'm sure he's amazing at it. Reading between the lines, thank you, Will, for pointing this out, says, I don't want it in writing. 2 hours and 32 minutes. I don't even talk to my mother for that long, or my own sister. I guess when you're planning such things as this, it requires very long conversations on the phone. On December 15th, which is the next day, and then the next day, Lindsay says at 8:37, what did Jen McCabe and everyone think of my meeting yesterday? At 8:43, OMG, really? 8:44, comments about anything specific? 8:44:22, 11 seconds later. Or just in general about Karen's case. 10:12, shit, LOL. Is Tully gonna get mad that I told people that? 10:12:57, 12 seconds later. Yeah, good point. 10:13 a.m. Oh, okay. 1:44 p.m. Would he even buy that? What did Tully say is next steps? Did he talk to Mello yet? Next steps, like this is a job interview. Like she's being what are next steps? Or she's trying to sell something. What are next steps? What are our next steps? What did Tully say is next steps? Like, who's the puppet master? Is Tully the puppet master? Remember, his internal affairs investigation is still ongoing, yeah? Oh, Tully's been in it all along, Smurfana. If you didn't see part 1 of this this documentary that I'm doing here, Tully and Mello are texting with Lindsay when she's in the bathroom, December 23rd of 2023, and Aiden is outside the bathroom door telling them, don't call me because he wants to see my phone. I'm deleting our messages now, or something like that. Madam Roz, exactly what I was thinking. Susan Conway says Tully and JM are in deep poop. Okay, Tear Dart, I hear you screaming into a closet that none of these IA investigations have any meaning. Hello, Buchanan was docked 5 vacation days. I mean, this is a joke. I know that you think that. I know you've been restating your opinion over and over and over again. That you don't think this is going to make any difference. I'm just gonna take the other opinion on this. I think the receipts are in. This can no longer be ignored. It just can't be. You cannot make these things up. It just cannot be ignored anymore. It just can't, because our friend Mark BEDEROW and Tim Bradel too, I don't think they're going to shut up about this. I mean, obviously Mark can't come on my show and talk to me about this and you, because he's representing Aiden. These are his words. I'm here to explain it to you and point it out to you. But let's see if the media picks this up about these people saying about who's in cahoots with who. Because if you didn't think that the Karen Reed case involved a cover up and a frame job, you might want to rethink your position based on this. Everyone say hello. Hey, hey girl, sup? Wicked dumb, wicked stupid, Jenny. Can't be ignored. And here are the messages. Oh, there we read them. What did Tully say his next steps? Did he talk to Mello yet? And then at 4:22 p.m., Ms. Gatani posts on Facebook, Big news coming soon. Stay tuned. Emphasis in original. As inconceivable as it seems, according to the extraction report of Ms. Gattani's phone, Ms. Peter did not respond to any of Ms. Gattani's messages cited above, even though some clearly are responsive to Ms. Peter. It is particularly concerning that the messages missing from an extraction report prepared by the MSP are messages from their own source containing information from and about Ms. Gattani, Mr. Mello, T.L. Tully, not Tunny, Tully, and Jennifer McKay. Missing messages. Are you shocked? Who did the extraction? Was it Guarino? Trooperino, who did the extraction on the phone? I need to know. Yes, isn't this ironic? Don't you think? A little too ironic. And yeah, I really do think, like Grayspace says, one of the many wild things, they're conspiring against Turtle Boy because he has been exposing their conspiracies and they thought this wouldn't come out. Yeah. And here's where the stupid get even stupider. Finally, it should be noted that Ms. Peter has displayed some of her messages with Ms. Gattani that do not appear on the extraction report from Ms. Gattani's phone on her own live shows. Yep. On October 3rd of 2024, just 6 days ago. Huh. Just after the October 1st court appearance where she bragged about giving information to the MSP. That's funny. Ms. Peter posted some of the missing messages on her Twitter X account. In other words, Ms. Peter has access to the text messages we are missing. Huh. Go figure. Accordingly, because Ms. Peter is a source closely associated with the MSP and Commonwealth, possesses the requested evidence, which is relevant, favorable to the defense, and within your possession, custody and control. Such evidence in any form should be promptly disclosed to the defense. In other words, give it to me. Give it to me, baby. Say what? Give it to me, baby. Given the December 17th, 2024 trial date on the district court matter, we would appreciate a prompt response so that we may pursue other remedies before trial in the event that you cannot or will not disclose evidence pursuant to this demand. XOXO, Mark BEDEROW. This is just a letter. It's not even a motion. He is the motion writing god too, I'm sure, Sherilyn, but this is just a letter requesting discovery, which is another proper way to do it. Well, well, well. You can never tell. That is a line, my friends. As you know, I quote Grateful Dead songs often and every time from Shakedown Street. Isn't that perhaps the perfect song lyric to describe what is going on in Norfolk County? What's the shaking on Shakedown Street? Shakedown Street. Robbie says, Jesus, I've been unable to type a response for the last 30 minutes. Unbelievable. I guess you didn't see it last night. I'm glad I could break it with you, to you. I'm going to go to the chat and then I'm going to show you something else that I pulled up because it's worth replaying. Yes, and here, this is also ironic, don't you think, Pierre? Ironically, if they hadn't messed with Turtle Boy legally, we would not know all this. Yes. He took one for the team. He took one for the team by doing 60 days in jail because they just kept going and going and going. Bang, bang, says Moon Goddess. Bang, bang. Tobeans, who has time for all this nonsense? Don't these people have lives? No. No, I don't think they do. And that's why In his demand, BEDEROW's like, I want your agreement with her. I want to know if she's still your source, if she's active or she's been deactivated, what she was promised in exchange. Is there I mean, Brian Walsh is up there with dumb criminals for all of his Google searches, if in fact they're correct. Because Proctor is the one who found, I think, those searches, and Guarino. So who knows what's going to happen with Brian Walsh? Maybe he didn't make those Google searches. Quack job. Off topic. Did Attorney Todd ever send an Amazon wish list for Carly? No, not yet. Thank you. Thank you for your 5. There's a lot of other stuff going on in that case. I'm sure she's very, very busy. CK, thanks for the 5. Even if she is or was a confidential informant, can she not be arrested? Yeah, this is like clear criminal charges. Clear. Confidential informants are there to give information to have other people arrested, not to set people up. To go along with some agenda that the special ADA may have. Thanks, Series Math Teacher. I already thanked you. Little Barb, thanks for being a member for 5 months. Amy, thanks for gifting a membership. In my opinion, this could lead to Mello's disbarment. Do not pass go. Do not get $200, period, full stop. Petty Paralegal, thanks for the 5. What, if any, civil remedies does Turtle Boy have against these women and or the county of Norfolk? Do you think he could be successful in a suit? If it could be shown, malicious prosecution, setup, entrapment. There's a lot of things there. Yeah, maybe a very rich man when all of this is over. NTBB2, hello, thanks for the 5. I'm happy Law Daddy is there for Turtle Boy and to shut this down. But why didn't Turtle Boy, other attorney, bring this to light earlier? I don't understand. Because they didn't have the cell phone extraction and all of these other things coming up for trial. They're waiting for them to turn over stuff. And then they turned it over, and apparently it's incomplete because there's a lot of messages missing. Joseph Kane, my beloved Commonwealth, apologies for everything. God save the Commonwealth. God save the Commonwealth. Thank you, Lori Life 360 for the win for another 5, gifting another 5 memberships. Always kind and generous. So very kind and generous. Mandy, thanks for the for tuning in from South Africa. I guess this trash is going to take herself out by her disgusting behavior. Selective prosecution of the witness intimidation statutes, my friends. Remember those of you who are on the cesspool of Twitter when they were calling for me to be disbarred for releasing these documents about Lindsay publicly on Twitter? It wasn't me. They were wrong. Grant Smith Ellis, you were wrong. David Reese. I just realized Kate Peter had legal issues with Chili DeCastro, the infamous First Amendment auditor. Oh, I mean, sure, there's legal issues with so many YouTubers that she's been trolling for however many years she's been doing this. Misadventures Book Mouse, thanks. It's not longer internal for investigating. It's no longer internal. I don't know what you're trying to say. Thanks, Heather, for the 10. It's when you think they can't duck up this investigation anymore, they don't even vet their informants. Nice pick, quack holes. She's been a puppet of Paul O'Keefe and Jennifer McCabe, at least. But she did brag about her close relationships with the O'Keefes, the Alberts, and the McCabe's, and some local journalists. Wow, just wow. Thanks, Cynthia, for the super sticker. And Wendy, darling, you are always such a darling for gifting a membership. Remember this. Remember this. This is from July 1st. I'm going to put this up for you because this is worth it. I can just get it to start it again. No, just make it full screen. Come on, stop being stupid. Okay. been a lot of hatred for Karen Reed out there on the internet by a lot of people with a lot of followers and a lot of pull. It's not longer internal for investigation. Thank you. I don't know what that means. Will the duck case become precedent in Norfolk County? We'll see. That's not going down without getting loudly talked about too, I have a feeling. Heartbreaking that the good citizens of Canton have to fight for their town because of all these corrupt people, says Jennifer D. Remember, my friends, July 1st, 2024, which is around the time that Judge Bev just declared a mistrial. Court TV chose to air this piece.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Now let's talk about what is tipping the scales of justice. We're talking about the killer or cover-up trial, showing you a live look at Dedham, Massachusetts right now. And throughout the trial, we've seen protesters wearing pink, filling the streets and proclaiming the innocence of Karen Reed. Now, on Friday, a group of supporters for the victim's family confronted them.
Why did you guys come out today? This has been going on for a while. Now, why today? Because this isn't normal to even be out here in the first place. I stream it every day. I stream it every day, but it really bothered me that they won't leave the O'Keefe family. Right, that's why we're here.
This woman here, where my cursor is, don't break your TV, is named Twisted Tragedies. Part of the Coven posse, whatever you want to call.
We are letting the majority win. We are done letting the majority win. You stand for the right thing.
That is Kate Peter, the one who's speaking now in the striped shirt. In retrospect, the stripes were prophetic, weren't they? Listen.
Even if you stand for the O'Keefe family, we stand for John O'Keefe. This is an abomination what's happening. They're treating this like it's a recreation. Like it's fun. They murder trial. Like it's all fun.
You know what's an abomination? Fill in the blank, my friends. What's an abomination? My freeze game on point again today.
Now, just another reminder, the jury is not sequestered here, and they've got to go past that circus every single way to the courthouse.
Yeah,
and
Julie
away
Grant
from
really turned on this case, man. In the beginning, she was so Karen Reed is innocent, and something happened. I don't know what. Is Julie Grant one of Kate Peters' like close local journalists? I don't know, because circus. It's a circus.
the courthouse at night. So could what's going on outside of the courthouse perhaps be tipping the scales of justice? The last thing anybody wants is jury tampering. I want to bring in a special guest right now. One of the people we saw in that clip just a moment ago, she is a friend of the O'Keefes, the McCabe's, someone who's been a big advocate for justice for John O'Keefe, Kate Peter. And with her, Lindsay Gaetani, who's helping to arrange these demonstrations like the one we just saw on Friday and the one going on today.
The dynamic duo, there they are. Court TV finds them to be their amazing, credible sources for this case. This is who they chose to have onto their channel. I wonder how they feel about that now. Huh. Lindsay on the left, Kate on the right. July 1st, 2024.
You ladies wearing blue this morning. Big welcome to you both. Kate, as a friend of the O'Keefes, I want to start with them if we can, please. It nauseated me on Thursday night when I heard about the harassment they've experienced. What's gone on?
So I just want to clarify that I would not consider myself to be a friend of the O'Keefes per se. I did not know them previous to this. I found out about this case, and through kind of investigating this case and what's going on and kind of picking apart the layers from the conspiracy theory online, I got to know a lot of the witnesses as well as the family. And what really...
Oh, you inserted yourself into this case. Let me ask you a question. Did you reach out to them or did they reach out to you? So this is July 1st, 2024. And yet she was telling Lindsay in January, Paul O'Keefe really wants to meet you, but you want to try and backpedal now that you're not friends. She inserted herself into this case. Listen to that again.
He drew me to this and keeps me going is the horrendous amount.
It keeps you going. This keeps her going.
I found out about this case, and through kind of investigating this case and what's going on and kind of picking apart the layers from the conspiracy theory online, I got to know a lot of the witnesses as well as the family. And what really drew me to this and keeps me going is the horrendous amount of harassment that they have received. They've done absolutely nothing wrong. The O'Keefe family has simply lost their family member, their son, their brother, their uncle, their cousin, and they've been absolutely just smeared across social media just because they don't buy into this theory of Karen Reed's guilt. And I think that it is, innocence rather, I apologize. I think that it's notable too that a lot of the harassment that has been going on here, we know through what we've investigated and what we've seen, as well as some court documents that have come out in unrelated cases, that Karen Reed is directly behind that. So that meant a lot to me because that's pretty horrific.
Karen Reed is directly behind that? Did nobody alert you to the fact that the grand jury that ordinarily could indict a ham sandwich did not indict Karen Reed and Aidan Carney? No true bill was returned. So let's listen to that again. And how do we know? We know because she's been in cahoots with Tully and Mello since at least like October 2023.
Has been going on here. We know through what we've investigated and what we've seen, as well as some court documents that have come out in unrelated cases, that Karen Reed is directly behind that. So that meant a lot to me because that's pretty horrific that a criminal defendant can manipulate this many people and cause such vitriol towards the victim's own family as well.
Court TV gave her a platform for this. Gave her a platform for this, that Karen Reed was behind it, even after the grand jury came back with no true bill on March 27th. Did you get that from court documents, or did you get that from being a source within the DA's office and the MSP for them? There's pictures of both of them in free Karen Reed shirts out there. You just need to go look for them. They're out there. But their hatred for this man, Aidan Carney, has blinded them and thrown them into such a tailspin that they were willing to get involved in this. Willing to get involved in this. Eager to get involved in this, giddy about getting involved in this. Schadenfreude, my friends.
Well, as these innocent state witnesses who we have to remember were John O'Keefe's friends.
Right, Kate. And appreciate the clarification there. And, you've gotten to know them through this process.
Correction. Kate, I don't think Kate was ever in a free Karen Reed shirt, but Lindsay absolutely was.
Because it's become so big and because it's become so high profile, understood. And let's talk about those folks who are friends of the O'Keefes, the McCabe's. For instance, paint the picture for us. Let's just start with the McCabe family. What has life been like for them since Karen Reed was charged?
Yeah. So, what we see and what we've heard and what's been expressed to us is that they are dealing with daily drive-bys to their homes. They get death threats on a daily basis, multiple times a day. They get abusive messages on text message to their phone number.
Wait, did she just say the O'Keefes are getting death threats on a daily basis? The O'Keefes are getting death threats and drive-bys? Those of you who live in the area, is that true? Hold on.
To us is that they are dealing with daily.
To start with the McCabe family.
Oh, the McCabe
What has
family.
life been like for them since Karen Reed was charged?
Yeah. So, what we see and what we've heard and what's been expressed to us is that they are dealing with daily drive-bys to their homes. They get death threats on a daily basis, multiple times a day. They get abusive messages on text message to their phone numbers, social media, letters left in their mailbox. They've had letters and emails sent to their children's schools. They've had photographs of their children defaced and then sent around to the schools, some stuff that I can't even talk about on network television. It's so vile and sexualized, honestly, these children. They can't go out in public without having their photographs taken, having abusive slurs or insults or threats hurled at them in public. It's really been just absolutely terrible. And, it's the McCabe's, it's the Albert family, it's the O'Keefe family, anyone in the peripherals, and honestly, anyone who even stands up to this and says, this is not okay, this is not appropriate, this is not justice, they put themselves in the crosshairs for that abuse too. And, we've certainly experienced it as well.
And we've, some of us have also been victims of your abuse and in the crosshairs of you, Ms. Peter. But the thing is that they're, like I said, 400 times selective prosecution of the law in Massachusetts. So you pretty much just think you can do whatever you want to anyone. And nobody will ever find out about it because they've got your back, right? What were you promised? What was your deal with them? Inquiring minds.
Experienced it, and that's not right. That's not right. Let's take, for instance, Colin Albert, because he was someone that the defense team outside of the courthouse, they never got there during the trial. They never made it there legally, but outside of the courthouse, they tried to blame him for this. Kate, I understand you know Colin. What kind of a young man is he?
Anytime that I've met him, he's been he's a respectful kid. He's kind. I think, he's really been rattled by the abuse that's been leveled at him, and it's completely unmerited. This I'm going to call him a kid. I know that he is almost 20 years old, but he's a young man. He was 17 at the time of the incident. He wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was, right? Like, by the time that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed pull out outside, he's long gone. There's absolutely no indication that he's responsible for anything. Like you said, these allegations.
Maybe before you two got on your Zoom call with Core TV, you might have wanted to shut off your devices so that we don't hear your phone going off in the background or your alarm or whatever. I know somebody's trying to point out that I can hit my back button, but this is a Facebook video and it does not let me do that. So thanks for pointing that out. I would do that if it was YouTube, but it's not. It's Facebook. She's so proud of herself.
Was, right? Like, by the time that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed pull out outside, he's long gone. There's absolutely no indication that he's responsible for anything. Like you said, these allegations against.
If he was long gone before John O'Keefe got there, why did they try and hide him from this? Why did they keep his name out of it? Why were they protecting him? Why was his mother offering to buy Michael Proctor a gift the day that Karen Reed was arraigned as a thank you? Why was his name kept out of it? Why did they lie about it? Why did they lie? Let's go back a little bit.
Been he's a respectful kid. He's kind. I think, he's really been rattled by the abuse that's been leveled at him, and it's completely unmerited. I'm going to call him a kid. I know that he is almost 20 years old, but he's a young man. He was 17 at the time of the incident. He wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was, right? Like,
he wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was. Did you hear that? Thank you guys for telling me to rewind that. He wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was. I'm going to play that again. She knows more than anybody because now she's besties with the McCabe's and the Alberts and the local journalists. She just admitted he was in the house. Why am I just picking this up for the first time? Because I didn't want to watch this when it was on the air. Listen again for emphasis. I don't think Colin did anything, but why did they lie about him being there? It looks sus. Listen. And the special prosecutor, yeah.
Kid, I know that he is almost 20 years old, but he's a young man. He was 17 at the time of the incident. He wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was, right? Like by the time that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
He wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was.
Pull out outside, he's long gone. There's absolutely no indication that he's responsible for anything. Like you said, these allegations against him didn't even really make it into court. I think they tried to dance around it a little bit, but they couldn't establish anything because it's just patently false.
Wow, girl. I don't know if you're puppeteer. Whoever's pulling your marionette strings is going to like that clip. Long gone. He was long gone. Allie also did say it on the stand. She did. But remember, now we're finding out this is their spokesperson. She's working with them. There's a reason why she's on Twitter tweeting about nothing but the Karen Reed case, day in and day out. There's a reason why she's their mouthpiece. She got Lindsay to go to court so that Turtle Boy could be arrested again. Thanks, Suze. Julie Albert offered a gift to Proctor. Yep, that's what I was just talking about. That offer violates the witness intimidation statute. Yep. Selective prosecution. I'm talking about all of it. All of it. They've never prosecuted her for witness intimidation. Let's take that back one more time. Just because it's so delicious, I got to hear it again.
At the time of the incident, he wasn't even in the house when John O'Keefe was, right? Like by the time that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed pull out outside, he's long gone. There's absolutely no indication that he's responsible for anything. Like you said, these allegations against him didn't even really make it into court. I think they tried to dance around it a little bit, but they couldn't establish anything because it's just patently false. So this young man's life has been completely upended and destroyed at this point. As I'm sure it's been made public at this point, it disrupted his college education, his college, sports career. He has to deal with the same sort of abuse that the rest of them do. As a young man, he can't go out in public without being photographed. Some of the most vile things have been written about him on the internet. People have wished the worst fate on him. Violent.
You've written some pretty vile things on the internet about a whole hell of a lot of people, girl. Mamacita said that's Mello calling to tell her to shut up. Pot, meat, kettle.
Violent threats against this young man. And it's not merited at all. They pull out instances from when he was maybe 16 years old. Every 16-year-old says some silly stuff on social media these days. That's just what they do. But he's not a bad kid. He's not a violent kid. He's always been very kind and respectful to me. And, we come from very different.
How many times have you met him? You're hanging out with Colin? He's always been very kind and respectful to you. You just try to walk back that you're not friends with these people. He's always been very kind and respectful to you. Oh, okay.
Worlds, and they've just all been so kind to me. It's disgusting what's being done to me.
I was saying on my opening statement this morning, and perhaps Kate, you and Lindsay and others may have heard it, that we have to remember these are people involved. These witnesses are people. The victim's family, they're people. The mistreatment of so many people, the abuse so many people have suffered. It's to me, it's unconscionable.
What about the abuse that some of us have suffered at the hands of her and all of her other coven of Twitter trolls? What about the abuse that Karen Reed has been suffering, having to defend herself against false allegations since January 29th of 2022? We're not concerned about that. Everyone's so concerned about these people's feelings. Why did everyone lie about Colin being in the house? Why was he never, ever even interviewed by police until at least a year and a half after? This is just infuriating. Even in retrospect, it's even more infuriating.
It's absolutely unconscionable, and it's not the way we work in America. It's not the way we operate in the United States. We're a country of laws, a nation.
We are a country of innocent until proven guilty. She's a lawyer, right? Julie Grant? Aren't we a country of innocent until proven guilty? And yet she and people like Koppendorfer and people like Wendy Murphy, who's also a lawyer, are all out there publicly excoriating Karen Reed as being guilty. Aren't we afforded the presumption of innocence, Julie Grant? Wow.
Of laws where the court system can find the facts and the truth, and that's what should be happening, not vigilante justice, or I don't even know what you call it. You know, it's illegal. It's illegal. Harassment is illegal. Tell me, Kate, when it's very clear, obvious, to anybody watching, that you are staunchly supporting John O'Keefe. You want justice for John O'Keefe, and you followed this case very closely. You follow the facts. You've researched it. When someone says to you, oh, but what about the defense theory? What about the theory that John O'Keefe was attacked in a house by multiple people and left on the front lawn to die? What do you say in response to that?
It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's not rooted in reality. There's no factual basis to support any of this. It defies common sense. It defies logic. Here we have a victim, a man who was well liked in his community by all accounts. I've not found one person, and I've extensively talked to people. It's sort of strange posthumously digging through this man's life. It can feel a little bit
It's posthumously, but yeah, okay.
Comfortable sometimes, but you start to almost get to know the victim through the eyes of the people that knew and loved him and his community. And I, to this day, cannot find one person that has an ill word to speak of this man. There was absolutely no motive for anyone to want to harm him. The more convoluted that this conspiracy becomes and the more inferences and conjecture that it requires, this is not legal evidence. This is not something that should stand up in a court of law. Most of the time it doesn't. It's peripheral noise designed to confuse the jury and confuse the public and punish the people that I believe Karen Reed feels wronged by because they stepped forward and they told the school what they saw and what they heard.
Wow, that's a whole lot of word salad, huh? Like physics, like 2 FBI hired biomechanical engineers who say this didn't happen from a car accident.
Kate, Peter, it's been great to talk with you. Thank you for coming on Opening Statements, for sharing your sentiments with all of us here. Thank you to your friend Lindsay Gaetani as well for coming on the program. And I know we'll be seeing you both and your friends and colleagues in the crowd today as we head forward on that verdict watch. Be safe, and hopefully we'll speak again soon. Kate and Lindsay, thank you kindly.
And he has tape.
Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. I mean, what do you think they'll report on this? Do you think they'll report on this? Lindsay just sits there. Do you guys realize how explosive what BEDEROW laid out is? Do you realize it? Thanks, Kimmy says Lindsay looks like a young Karen. Lori with the 10 says, in my opinion, the only reason to keep Collins out of it Collins' name out of it is because he had injuries from an altercation. It's your opinion. You're entitled to it. A lot of people think that. Stop watching Court TV. Thanks, Rescue Puppy. You guys get it? Nope. Just checks. No reply or report from Julie Grant. It's been very, very silent over there on the cesspool since Aiden did this show last night. I don't know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what's going on over there. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see how they're going to try and spin this, how they're going to try and do some dancing around, some spinning. Please explain who Peter is. Well, thank you, Mick Ramblon. I will do that for you. Kate Peter is a woman who lives, I guess, in the area. I don't know if she lives in Canton or somewhere around there. And she used to work for Turtle Boy. She used to work with him, I think, on his blogs and website. Somehow they were connected through work. She is also a person who runs a Twitter account, Masshole Mafia, and a Facebook account, Masshole Troll Mafia Official. And I don't really know what she does like for a living, but she became involved in this because of her hatred for Aiden. In my opinion, I really don't know how to better explain who she is than that. If anybody can put it in there for me, she has attacked every single person who has talked out about the Karen Reed case, and now we know why. Now we know where her interests have been since October of 2023. I didn't start covering this case until January of 2024, and I quickly became a target for her and all of her alt accounts and all of her followers or whatever, minions. I don't know if you want to call them, posse. Even a blind man knows when the sun is shining, Kenny. You know it. Another Grateful Dead quote, BEDEROW is the best thing since sliced bread. You know, she's the boss. Wouldn't let Lindsay speak. Thank you. Thank you. Please hit like to push this out. Please explain the explosive nature. Well, that's what it is. She's been working with the MSP and the special prosecutor since at least October of 2023, feeding them information, talking to them on their private cell phones, clearly orchestrating a setup to get Aiden Carney put in jail the first time and trying to get him put in jail a second time. But it didn't work when the grand jury trying to get Karen Reed put in jail and Aiden Carney for some sort of collusion on witness intimidation, which didn't work either. And doesn't it give a whole lot more credibility to all of the other allegations in all of the other cases, not just Karen Reed, that things have been covered up, text messages go missing? Obviously, her obsession with Aiden Carney caused her to insert herself into this investigation, into the Karen Reed investigation, befriending the Alberts, the McCabe's, and Lindsay with the sole goal, one of the goals, destroying Aiden Carney. In my opinion. What say you? I mean, when's the last time you saw the special prosecutor is going to be called as a witness? Mello's going to have to get on the stand and explain his relationship with Kate Peter, why he was communicating with her when he's the DA in this case. He's made himself a witness. It's a violation of the ethical rules. Could be a violation of some laws as well. It could be criminal. It's a huge, huge problem. You can read the chat if you want any more information on who Kate Peter is. I've had fun with this. Send you the link. The link for what? What link did you send me? I don't know what it's for. I can't just click on it. I don't know what it's for. And I won't play. So I'm not sure what you're sending me, what it's for, and whether I can play it. But thank you. Court TV is like the National Enquirer. Yep, videos go missing. Videos come up inverted. TJ Bits says, makes so much sense why Aiden needed 2 amazing attorneys to thoroughly find and go through so much information. Iceman says, I think the Commonwealth will drop all charges against Aiden to avoid more embarrassment. We'll see. We'll see. Rico incoming, says Moon Goddess. Selective prosecution. But if they respond to Mr. Bederow's discovery demands, we're going to find out a whole lot more. A whole lot more, and I'm here for it. Anybody have any final thoughts? Final thoughts, questions, concerns before we wrap this wonderful morning that we've had together? Someone needs to send this plot to Law and Order. Moon Goddess, for all those people watching in the chat that think you got this, better get a good lawyer. Great advice, Moon Goddess. Great advice. They've got no shame. Nope. This is going into overtime. Yes, it is. Hello, blessed mom from Texas. You got to send me an email because you won the giveaway the other day. Sending love and prayers to all and prayers to Florida. Thank you for that. Imagine how many texts they're going to go up. They're going to get. It's insane. It's insane. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it got a whole hell of a lot worse. Who'd have thunk it? We love discovery, don't we? We love discovery. When the walls come crumbling down, my friends, when the walls come tumbling down and the dominoes are falling. And we're here for it. Thank you to my moderators for keeping it classy today. I don't know if it was a difficult one. Prayers up for all of the people that were in the path of Hurricane Milton that is going to slam into Florida soon. I believe soon. I don't know exactly when because I've been working on this, but I'm going to go watch that coverage now. So thank you all for watching. Please smash the like button on your way out. Please share the stream. Please comment. All those things are good for YouTube. These are, somebody wants to know about these earrings. Oh, these are, coincidentally, Dave Matthews earrings that I bought in Cancun when I was not there with Alan Jackson, but they like to spread that rumor about me too. So thanks. There's a local artisan in Cancun who makes these every year for when Dave Matthews comes to town. Thank you. Here for the takedown. Thanks, my friends. I appreciate you as well so much. Viewers, replay viewers, channel members, you're all the greatest. Love to you all. Just, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard. For some people, it's really hard. But for you guys, it is so not hard. Peace. I'll see you real soon because I have a lot more stuff to share with you. Just got to get it together. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.